There's a sentence you hear from older smokers all the time. It's not like the weed back in the day. And here's the uncomfortable part. They're right. If you started smoking in the last 10 or 15 years, you have been using a fundamentally different drug than the one your parents or your older friends picture when they say cannabis is harmless. That matters more than it sounds, because it quietly rewrites every assumption you brought to quitting. If you have ever wondered why stopping feels so much harder for you than the old stories suggest, this is a big part of the answer. Today's cannabis is measurably, dramatically stronger than it was a generation ago. Not a little, several times over. And the strength of the drug changes everything about how it hooks you and how hard it is to walk away. Here's why. The thing that makes cannabis addictive is how intensely it activates your brain's reward system. A stronger hit means a stronger dopamine response. A stronger dopamine response means stronger conditioned habits, deeper tolerance, and a harder landing when you stop. The plant got stronger, so the dependence got stronger, and the withdrawal got stronger right along with it. So when someone tells you they smoked for years and quitting was no big deal, they are not lying. They were quitting a weaker drug. Their experience does not transfer to yours, and using it as your benchmark just makes you feel like you are failing at something that is genuinely harder now. Back in the 1990s, cannabis, seized by authorities in the United States, typically tested at around 3 to 4% THC. That was the normal flower most people were smoking. By the early 2020s, the average had climbed to somewhere between 12 and 15%. And that is just flower. The concentrates that are everywhere now, the waxes, the shatters, the dabs, routinely test between 60 and 80% THC. To put that in plain terms, a generation ago, strong weed was a few percent. Today, ordinary flower is 3 to 5 times that, and concentrates can be 10 to 20 times stronger than the typical weed of the 90s. This is not a small shift. It is a different category of substance. So how did this happen? It wasn't an accident. It was engineered, for a few reasons. First, selective breeding. Both legal and illegal markets reward one thing above all else: higher THC. It is the number on the label, the thing people pay for. So for decades, growers bred plants for maximum potency, generation after generation. Second, indoor cultivation. Growing in controlled environments lets producers fine-tune every variable to push cannabinoid concentration far beyond what outdoor growing usually reaches. Third, the concentrate market exploded. Legalization in many places created a legal industry built around extracting and concentrating THC to levels that have no real precedent in how people have used cannabis historically. Put those together and you get a plant that has been pushed, deliberately, to its chemical limits. But the THC numbers are only half the story. As THC was pushed up, something else got quietly pushed down: CBD. CBD is the other major compound in cannabis, and it does something important. It buffers some of THC's effects, especially the anxiety and the edge that high doses can bring. Older cannabis had a more balanced ratio, so the plant came with its own built-in break. But CBD doesn't get you high, and the market wasn't paying for it. So as breeders chased THC, CBD levels in most commercial strains collapsed. What you are left with today is high THC with almost no CBD to soften it. The accelerator got bigger, and the brake got removed at the same time. This is why the risks are not the same as they were 20 years ago. High THC with low CBD is linked, in research, to higher rates of anxiety, and for people who are vulnerable, to cannabis-related psychotic episodes. That is not fear-mongering. It is what tends to happen when you strip the moderating compound out and crank the active one up. And it is why withdrawal hits harder now. The severity of cannabis withdrawal tracks the amount of THC your body has adapted to. If you have been using high-potency products daily, your brain has dialed itself down much further to cope. So when you stop, the gap it has to climb back from is much bigger. More adaptation going in means more symptoms coming out. So that comparison you keep hearing, "I smoked for years and quitting was easy," It predates all of this. It is a memory of a plant that barely exists anymore. You are not weaker than that person. You are detoxing from something several times more powerful. And if you want to put some of that missing buffer back while you detox, a quality CBD oil is the simplest way to do it because it supports the calmer side of the same system without the high. I'll link the one we actually use right below. Here's what that actually means for you. So here is the takeaway. The struggle you are feeling is not a character flaw. It is the predictable result of your nervous system adapting to a heavily concentrated, unbuffered drug and then having to rebuild itself when that drug is suddenly gone. The plant changed. Your brain responded exactly the way it is built to. That is biology, not weakness. What gets you through is not willpower. It is understanding the process and giving your system real structure while it recovers. If you want that structure laid out step by step across all three phases, release, resilience, and clarity, the Cannabis Detox Transformation Program at quit-smoking-weed.com walks you through exactly that. The link is in the description. And if someone keeps telling you it shouldn't be this hard, send them this video. They are remembering a different drug.